you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Good. Excellent to be here. And actually, Bulgaria for me is the first time I'm here, but I'm super excited to be here. Actually, it was a Dutch prince of Orange who started a company in the Netherlands working together already with Bulgaria quite a while ago, which was really a big of attention in the Netherlands. And he already had this vision quite early. So our royals in the Netherlands are quite smart. Well, who am I and what am I going to tell you? So I'm going to have a speech which is about the human link and the key to successful innovation. And it really is about how you unleash yourself to really make sure that innovation starts happening within companies, and I will give some examples, but more importantly, what's the role that you are going to play? You know, are you opening up yourself? Are you the one that drives the change within your organization? Because I can tell you one thing, organizations will not change by themselves. It's the individual that changes them. So I hope I will give you a little bit of insights and inspiration that at the end you will go out there and you will change your own organizations and thereby also enrich your own career. So who am I? Well, actually, in my normal life, I do firewalks. So I'm a firewalk instructor. I go through the roof, have great parties, sometimes very strange pictures, and I break arrows on keynote stages. The problem was, I thought it was not a good idea to bring an arrow with me in the plane. Could be a little bit suspicious, but I want to do an exercise because I think innovation is about mashing up different elements which leads to something new. And the mistake I think that a lot of companies make when it comes to individuals in organizations is that they think, I bring in the professional and I will ask the professional to do the work that they do. But you're more than just a professional. As you see that I'm just more than a CTIO. I'm the firewalk instructor, I'm the friend, I'm a skier, you know. And if I bring and combine all these elements that are within me, then I can make more impact. And I want to make a little bit of an exercise, and this is going to be a challenge, and I hope some medical assistance is already ready, but I want you all to stand up. Please stand up, because we're going to do a mind game with each other. What I want you to do, and it's going to be a bit, you have to do it softly, because the rooms, you don't have too much space, but I would like you to close your eyes, do it when I'm ready. I want you to put your right hand in front, and then I will ask you a question to turn it around. But we first do it. Well, okay. First we do it with our eyes open to see if we will not hate people. So open your eyes. Still open your eyes. And what I would like you to do is try to turn as much as possible as you can, and then try to fixate where your arm is. Yeah, no, you have. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is not going to work. Start already behind the people after you. So put your arms off. Yeah, exactly. And then try again to reach out. And try to fixate. Try to fix where you have put your arm. So that's the maximum stretch that you had. Okay. Now we're going to do the exercise again, but I want you to close your eyes now. I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. No, don't do anything yet. Close your eyes. And start thinking that you are of rubber. You're rubber. I don't know whether you saw this Disney film where this lady was completely elastica. You're completely elastic. You're completely elastic. You're completely from rubber. And you feel it already in your arms. Your arms are feeling now, you know, way more relaxed, etc. More relaxed, completely of rubber. And also, you start imagining you can achieve everything that you want. You are the hero in your own life. And you're also elastic. And what I want you to do, again, reach your arm behind your person, and now stretch it as far as you can. And remember, you're completely elastic. Good. Okay, you can sit down again. Raise your hands if your arm was way further down the second time. Yeah? It's a mind game. It's what is in our minds that actually limits yourself. If you look at the arrow break, basically the arrow break is that you put a wooden arrow in your throat, and then you have to step forward to break it. And everybody thinks you cannot do it. Same with firewalk. You don't think you can do it, but actually you can do it if you change your mindset. I hope I'm going to change your mindset. I'm going to do it in 4 blocks. I will give you a bit of context. I'm going to give you pieces of the give you pieces of the building blocks of the technologies that we see that really leads to different kind of innovations. Then I will come to what is the driver of people that actually will change things. And finally, we will see some companies who mastered it and some examples that you can take with you. So what is the context? And I think context is about, what is innovation now? And innovation for me is not always something that is per definition new, but it's something that is new to you. It's something that you experience new. So let me give you this example. So this is in a shopping mall somewhere in the Middle East, and it's the first time that I actually see the escalator. And for us, an escalator is normal, We went into the mall this morning, but this has happened when, you're for the first time on an escalator. Luckily, the young guy is there to stop it. This is a traditional manager, so he sees you fail and will not act, and then in the end, okay, we need to stop because else you will never go. This is, again, same situation, same mall. And it's like, you can't believe it. Like, how can you not step up an escalator? But if it's new, this is new management. So new management actually is like very subtle. So he stops it immediately so that the ladies can walk. But then watch what he does with his foot. Okay. So innovation it's in the eyes of the beholder. So what is innovation to you? So there's a lot of opportunities out there, I think, for companies to still take. And it's also going way faster than normal. So this is a picture that was taken in New York around the year 1900, around Easter. And actually, if you look at it, these are all still carriages with horses. And there's one car. So the blue one is one car. So there was already one car on the streets of New York around 1900. And this is the picture 10 years later. And you can see one carriage with a car, with a horse. So, and again, for us, it's the same. I'm working now 24 years in the industry, started off with SAP. And in SAP, when we were working in the beginning, if you did a project, it's like, it takes 1.5 years, a couple of millions, and then you will get something, and we will deliver you something. And then 2008, the first iPhone came. In 2009, the App Store came. And then all of a sudden, software was installed overnight. And I didn't have to think about it. And it costed me €1. So, and all the business users got that in their hands. And now look 10 years down the line. Where are we now when it comes to mobile? And actually, this is my worry. This is my daughter. She had a boyfriend, actually, during the time when she had a boyfriend. She's 17 now. Actually, we talked again with each other, and now the relationship broke up, and Sunday she was with me, and continuously, like, selfies. Why do you have to make a duck face if you do a selfie on Instagram? It's something I really don't understand. And it really changes also our needs. So this is also something to look at, because we had the Maslow period, and actually we changed the Maslow period. And if you think this is not the truth, well, go with your kids on a holiday. The first time that they're in the hotel, first thing that they check is, where is the Wi-Fi? It's a sad story, actually. It also changes perspective. Just some shout-outs. What was the biggest concert ever in history? Anybody knows? The biggest concert, music concert. Woodstock? Yeah. Well, actually, it's not, and a lot of people actually think I can, Woodstock, the Isle of Man festival, whatever. Rolling Stones in Brazil, which was also also very good. But this was actually the biggest concert ever. I saw him once live with a bucket on his head. Why do people put buckets on their heads? I still don't know.
Yo, what is up, Fortnite? What's up, Pleasant Park? My name is Marshmallow, and thank you for coming out today.
So this was live broadcasted over Fortnite, and over 20 million people were live experiencing this concert. Over 20 million. And we think about a concert, hey, I have to be physically there, we need to be in mud, we need to look dirty and, start smelling after 3 days. But for my son, this was the biggest concert he ever experienced. And they actually had the experience of being in a concert. They could start chatting, they could start playing, probably had Discord on where he was chatting with his friends, etc. This is the world where he is in. So if I'm going to organize a concert right now, and probably Marshmallow made a lot of money out of it, am I going to make a physical thing, or am I going to do something in cyberspace? And this is actually the reality where we're living in. So things are really changing. And that also requires new ways of looking at technology. And of course, that also leads to new ways on how we deal with the quality of that. So some of the building blocks and some of the technologies that really are changing a lot. Of course, it's like automation and robotics. And I always think, I hope it stops at not at the last one, but just the one before. I think we're still in the middle somewhere over there, but let's see where we will end up. Robotics is a very big thing. Again, you know how things are changing, not only because of virtual reality and augmented reality, but also of AI. And you see a couple of nice pictures over there. That's the CTO of the USB bank, and actually he has his own avatar. And if you now go to the USB bank, you don't get a chatbot, but actually you start talking to an almost human-like bot. Same goes for the lady below. And what they did in Florida, where there's one of the biggest DALI museums in the world, actually they had a new exposure of DALI works, and they created a whole new concept. And just have a look at this.
I have a long-standing relationship with death. Almost 30 years. I in life always believe the desire to survive and the fear of death were artistic sentiments. I understand that better now. But there is one thing that makes me different. I do not believe in my death. Do you?
It's amazing, eh? He never said those words. It's one of my favorite artists. And it's almost like he's there. And this is the reality of technology where we are right now. This is the good thing. I don't hope that we go into this area where you already see these movies where you can use fake technology to have people say things that they never said. Well, we are already capable of doing those kind of things. It's also about sensors, IoT. You will have some nice examples over here. I gave a presentation for Roche, and that's also where we looked into this. And this is actually something that you swallow in. And then basically the sensors really will detect where, you know, the issues are within your body. So they really can target, you know, radiation or your medicine really specifically for you. So we're not going to have general medicines anymore. We're going to fine-tune things for you. And it really becomes further because we're going to get so much more data. There's big chaos now and fear in the industry because, of course, Google will now get all your health data, and what are they going to do with that? Well, perhaps advertise it. But we also had a discussion on the toilets, which basically was the best invention of the last century. It was not a computer. Computer was number 2. Toilet was number 1. But if you think about it, our life expansion is thanks to the toilet. But it goes further now. We will have sensors in toilets. But actually, if you do your number 2 and you flush it, it will automatically already sense your health status. That's good, eh? So I had a good morning this morning. I got an app back and it said, well, Frank, you're looking very fine for this keynote. So, you know, it's good information. And if you think that's not true, this is really happening. There is a sushi place which is going to open, and it's already sold out for the coming 9 months. It's not even open yet. But what you're going to do is you're going to have a saliva out of your mouth, and you deliver a urine specimen. And based on that, they're going to create the sushi that is best of health for you. Isn't this cool? Well, you know, it's the only problem is how do you get these urine samples? Never mind, you know. It will be fun. One other thing, and actually this was a story which was in the New York Times, but I was in New York 2 weeks ago, and actually they had a pop-up store on the 5th Avenue where actually they displayed this. And this is the magic mirror. So this is a mirror, and of course we're already doing some things where you have visual inspection and you have interactivity into the mirror. But basically this is a fitness mirror. So you're standing in front of the mirror. The mirror is displaying yoga exercises or running exercises like, you know, 7-minute workout, you know, you have to be active. And then basically it gives you feedback whether you had the right performance, yes or no, whether you did the exercise in the right way, and you get advice. This is the technology which is already out there. Again, of course, I want to make sure because it's connected, how secure is it? Who will see me when I do my exercises? Because we always, do tiny small things on our laptops where we can use the clip so that nobody can see us. Well, now, that is continuously in your living room. Do you want it? But this is now being sold, and I need to order one, but how the hell do I get it safe to the Netherlands? It's also about, enriching lives, of course. So robotics, it's not only robotics from a test automation perspective or from an IT perspective. It's really like, physically into our bodies. And last time, and actually it's the reason why I'm here, I gave a speech on the UK Star conference, and I also gave the example that my father had this implant on his heart, where if his heart stops, it automatically would give a shock. And can you imagine the testing that needs to be done from that perspective and the quality you want to have on that one? Not only the security. So we are going to augment ourselves, not only with intelligence, but also, with things like this. So, we will all be able to do the Olympics one day. Autonomous driving. So when we have all this AI now, and we can do all these algorithms that we can put into the edge of where things are happening, we can do autonomous. But the fun part was also, if you look at it from a testing perspective, and that is the picture that you see to the left of it. We were with a Dutch governmental organization. We did a fact-finding trip to Silicon Valley on what the status was of autonomous driving. Will it take 5 years? Will it take 10 years? Yes or no? And this was at Stanford University, where actually they tested how people would react to an autonomous car. Because at that moment in time, and this was 2016, Google was already out on the road. None accident was caused by the car itself. All the accidents that were caused by people driving into the car, because they saw this autonomous driving car and and they jumped into it. So actually, what they did is they actually had this fake cover, and they had this persons who were not driving in an autonomous car, but just having this cover, so nobody could see that actually a human was driving it. And then they just reacted, and they looked at, okay, how are people now really looking at what happens if you were driving next to an autonomous car? Well, the fun part is I'm currently engaged with a large car manufacturer. All the money goes into that direction. And it's not so much, and this comes again to innovation, not so much technology innovation, but business innovation. I spoke with the CEO of that company. I was also on a conference, and he was asked, Tesla, and it was the week before that Elon Musk said, I will have my autonomous driving software out probably beginning 2020, and it means that next year I will have 1 million robo-taxis on the road. And of course everybody made fun of the deadlines that Elon Musk said, so they said, so probably will never happen. And then the CEO of that car company said, well, perhaps it will not happen, but look at how he changes the aspect and the perspective of how you look at the car. He said, because if we bought a car, it was always an investment. It cost me money. But if I can, in the evening when I not use it, switch it into a robotaxi, all of a sudden it becomes a money-making engine. So the innovation is not so much on the technology side. The innovation is I'm going to have a different use and a different business model around something that always costed me money and now actually can generate some money for me. He said, so whether his deadline is right, yes or no, every car manufacturer is now in panic, because if we miss that boat, then everybody will buy Teslas. So it's a bit of a different perspective. The best one was that we also got this sticker. My other car is autonomous, but I never drive it. It's also about creating new experiences, and I think this is the best example that I have. Who owns an Alexa already? No? The Google variant? No? Apple HomePod? I feel really lonely on stage now, okay? Why do you do this? I own all three. Only the Apple HomePod is allowed in our living room. All others are banned by my wife. And that is because she found also the stories. She also used to work within our company. She is a bit tech savvy. And she heard the stories, of course, that Amazon is recording everything that you do. Google, to improve their service, are listening into the questions that people have. So it's quite scary, and particularly, for us, it's not that scary. But if you are in the US, start imagining this. So in the US, I do all my shopping on Amazon, and they really do. I was in San Francisco. That's how I got my Alexa 2 years ago. Totally forgot that I really wanted an Alexa, and I was in our innovation center in San Francisco downtown. And I said to the guy, shoot, I wanted to buy an Alexa to bring home, and but I don't have time anymore. And he started laughing. He said, "You never heard of Amazon Prime?" I said, yeah, but he said, when do you need to leave for the airport? He said, in 2 hours. He said, pfft. And he ordered it. Within 40 minutes, it got delivered. So they buy everything. So Amazon also knows when you're at home, because they deliver within 1 hour in your home. They also know what you watch, because you have Amazon Prime, also as the television. They know what you're listening to as books because of Audible, which is of course also owned by Amazon. You also listen to the music, which is also by the Amazon Prime account. Then, you get your Alexa, which also has Ring connected to it. So, I also see who rings at my doorbell, and I have my safety around it. And now they also know, who is almost in the room, because if I do connect with my home automation and I have also my heating connected to Alexa, and I said, okay, raise the temperature to 23 degrees, at a certain moment in time, Alexa starts recognizing, oh, probably Frank is now in the house, because now temperature is being raised to 23 degrees. And of course, they also know each question that I ask to Alexa. So if you think Google is scary, this is even more scarier. And the thing that Google envies Amazon for is Google knows what you're searching for, Amazon knows what you're buying. And there's a big difference in that. Now, look at it from a privacy and a security perspective. How many of you still wants to have an Alexa in your living room? In your bed? Okay, good. Yeah, there are always non-believers. We call them Trumpanians. Who wants it in your bedroom? Yeah, you're kinky, So, but start thinking about it. And I think there's a big lesson that we can learn from this, because the biggest hit is they sell millions of them. And it's now the Google show or the Amazon show, so they've got this nice little thing that can be in your nightstand, indeed in your living room. They've got the fashion thing, so that you can stand in front of it and it automatically takes a picture of your clothing. And they've got AI behind it, so it starts recommending on what are the combinations that you need to wear. So so that's actually what they now also have. And we all know that it's complete intrusion of our privacy. So what's the lesson that you can learn over here? If the customer experience is supreme, the user will forgive you everything. So think about that. Did we test whether our customer experience is supreme in the innovation that we do? And of course, when we put the AI behind it, then other things can do. And this is a nice video that IBM created based on IBM Watson.
Who's the new guy?
They call him the Whisperer.
Whisperer. Well, why do they call him the Whisperer?
He talks to planes.
He talks to planes.
Watch this. Hey, Watson, what's avionics telling you?
We need to replace capacitor C4 and rework the board assembly.
Not bad. What's with the coffee maker?
Sorry, we are not on speaking terms.
Because now if we have all this data, because we have all these sensors, not in the toilets, but in the airplanes, and we know all these kind of things, what can we do? And actually Rolls-Royce, also looking from a different innovation perspective, they changed their business model. Because they said, we're not going to sell flight engines anymore, we're going to sell flight hours. And for flight hours, I can ask a higher premium price. So now, of course, financially, that's also started to change things, because normally they sold it. Now they still have the engine on their balance sheet, but they can ask a higher price per flight hour. So I can drastically change the way how I deliver my services into the market. So again, innovation is not always the technology perspective, it's the technology that changes the way how I sell things into the business. And I think it all comes together, so it's also not one technology as such, it's the combination of all the different technologies, and this is the best example, I think, that there is in the industry on how everything comes together.
Introducing the CocaCola Freestyle app, a new way to customize your drink experience. Mix 2 or 3 drinks together, give it a name, and share it with your friends. Then connect your phone to a CocaCola Freestyle machine. CocaCola Freestyle, changing how we drink.
So, I always go to ski holiday in Austria, and my kids order spezi. I don't know, do you have spezi here in Bulgaria? No? Okay, spezi is half Coke, half Fanta. So, yeah, thank you very much. That's exactly that's exactly how I feel. So it's basically twice the damage on your teeth. So what happened now? Coca-Cola found out, because it's simple. It's syrup, water, and it's gas. It's the syrup, of course. The secret is the syrup, but it's that simple. And what Coca-Cola invented was a way how they could do micro dosage of the syrup. And they said, hey, if we now can do micro dosage of the syrup, what can we do with that? And then they worked together with Fahrenheit 212 company, and they said, okay, let's do some imagination on this. What can we do? There was a second business problem that they had, and that was that if you go to franchise stores, McDonald's, Burger Kings in the US, so if we go to McDonald's in the Netherlands, we order the Coke over the counter. But in this case, actually, they also have vending machines, so you still want to grab your Coke, etc. And what happened was that the sales of those vending machines dropped. So a lot of those franchises wanted to kick out all those vending machines because, you know, it just takes space. What can I do with the space? So they said, okay, let's look at what we can do. And what they found out was the vending machine that you had over there. So what you do is you take your app, you download the app, and you can compose your own drink. So if you think spacey is horrible, it can be much worse. Because I can do 10% Sprite, 10% Cherry Coke, 10% Dr. Pepper, whatever, the rest Coke or whatever. You just create it, you get a QR code. With the QR code, I go to the vending machine and automatically he does it in the perfect dosage that I want. This is what we call the segment of one. I don't target you as a Coke drinker anymore or a Fanta drinker. I don't target you as whatever. I'm going to target you for your individual needs. This is the promise that technology is bringing us. And if I am catered for my unique needs, then I will definitely buy more from your firm. That's the whole premise behind it. So what you see here is a combination of brilliant stuff coming together. First of all, if you have a printer at home, you know, black's always empty first, you know, and you can't print anymore. You don't want this. So if the customer experience needs to be supreme enough, you always need to make sure that you have got the syrups in stock. So it's the IoT sensors that basically make sure that we can measure what the stock level is. And what Coca-Cola did behind it was make sure they had a full automatic replenishment system in place. So the moment that they saw things were out of stocks, it was already replaced before you even know it. First number. Second thing, of course, it was mobile, because I have my own mobile app, it's installed, it's very easy for me to configure my own drinks. It's social, because if I get my QR code, I can start sharing it with my friends. I got a very cool new drink, you need to have it, you know, try it. It's really gross, you know, try it. And I can send it over to my friends, I share it over Facebook, they see it, they get the QR code, anywhere in the world, they go to the vending machine, show it, and they get exactly the same drink. And now the real brilliance comes behind it, and that's the big data and the analytics part behind it. Because I shared it, Coca-Cola now sees that I'm a crazy guy from 46 years old that does firewalks, listens from Eddie Vedder to opera, travels a lot, and today is in Bulgaria. But what now, if more people of 46-year-old that listen to Eddie Vedder always have something with cherry Coke in it? That's research. That's where I can create new products. And I don't have to pay 3,000 R&D people for that. So it really is about how do you mix the different technologies together and put a new, fresh perspective on things. And that really drastically changes it. Coca-Cola perceives this as one of the biggest inventions that they had since they invented the syrup, of course. So what does it do to people, and what is your role then into it? What is the human link? Well, Tom Peters, who is my #1 guru, He says it best. Nearly 100% of innovation is inspired not by market analysis, but by people who are supremely pissed off and by the way things are. So it never is market analysis. It's because, you're angry. You want to change things. Things are not working properly. Look at Silicon Valley startups. It was not because people thought, oh, let's create a company. They saw an opening. They were pissed. It's not only being pissed that actually has it. It's also childhood dreams. We need to go to Mars. And I think this is the best example. We need to go to Mars. Well, how can I finance it? Well, perhaps, we start doing something with electrification and cars. Let's start a car company. And then let's start a space company. And from the space company, can that be the next step then actually to go to Mars? Will we get there? I don't know. But does he do freaking cool stuff? Well, for sure. And we get fast internet in the rural places that I live in, so that's also good. It's empathy. And I love this story so much. It's actually a daughter of one of my colleagues who invented the cloud cuddle. And what she saw, she had a couple of children in her in her surroundings where they had disabled children and where the families complained they could never go out to have dinner with other friends because then if the child needed to go to sleep, they never had a safe place where they could bring the child to sleep because of the disabilities of the child. And then she said, as part of her study, she said, okay, let me do something because, I want to solve this. And then actually she came up with the cloud huddle. So you can just, inflate it and bring it with you. Then you bring it up, you inflate it, and you can put it over a mattress or something like that, and it's completely shielded. So, it's a safe place where people can now go out, put their child in, and they not have to worry that the child will climb out of the bed or anything. So even if they are with people that don't have children. Isn't this cool? It's such a cool innovation. It's a huge success right now all over the world. They're doing it, and it's just because she had empathy. She wanted to change something for those children. It's also about concern. So this is Daan Rozengaarde. Daan Rozengaarde is an artist, technology, scientist guy, and he doesn't want to put in one box, so he's a little bit in the middle. And some of you might know him. He was very famous because of two things. One is he created the Van Gogh bicycling path in the Netherlands. So it's lit up in the colors of the Van Gogh painting. So if you go into the dark and you have to cycle over that path, of course it's not safe. And then he just created that because of reflection, it always is lit up, but in the colors of Van Gogh. So you just, you drive through Van Gogh landscape in the evening in a very safe manner. But he also created this. This is actually it's getting smog out of the air, and it's now being installed in cities in China, where there's a lot of air pollution. And basically that machine takes all the CO2 out of the air, so that in parks, actually around the park, although the rest of the city is polluted, you can be in the park and you can have clear skies and clear air. The fun part is, do you know how he finances this? And this is smartness. The guy says, actually CO2 is the thing diamonds are made of. The only shitty thing, it takes a long time. So what he does, he gets the CO2 out of the air, which is really gross, black stuff, and then he puts it under high pressure, and he creates diamonds out of it. And then he sells the diamonds as rings, and with the rings, he finances this project again. This is cool. This is looking from a different perspective, but it starts with genuine concern about the industry and health. Compassion, this is actually one of my colleagues who did this. It's Project Farm. And they looked, okay, what can we do with AI? And he started to have negotiations with a non-profit organization that said, we have an issue because we can really, if you look at farming in Western world, it's almost high-tech. They've got drones, the tractors are already sensing everything, tablets, whatever. Farming, there's nothing romantic at farming anymore. But if you go to Africa, then there are small farms, and it's very difficult to really get optimization of the crops that they produce, because they don't know what their neighbors are doing, yes or no. So basically what he did is they started using weather data, satellite data, and they started combining, okay, if we now see that temperature is predicted to be something like this, probably you will get the best yields from corn at this moment in time. Or, if we now look at the distance that you have towards the marketplace, Probably grain would be best for you. And they collect this data and then they send it out to the non-profit organization that basically feeds that data back towards the farmers in those small countries in Africa, in the small places, where actually they're now almost possible to have 2 to 3 times more yield, therefore better income, therefore better ways to put that back in the way how they farm. This is technology in which we really make sure that we have more food for people in the world. Drive. I think this is a good example from Jeff Bezos, It's about you really want to change stuff. And I think the whole reason why we now have cloud computing in the way how we consume it right now, basically because he was extremely pissed off that when Amazon started to grow internally, they started to creating stovepipes, because that's the thing that you do. And there were fights on, no, the customer data is mine. And I think the big change that really started also helping accelerate the whole DevOps movement was that he says, no, we'll stop it. Nobody owns the data. The data is from the client, and we need to make sure that our services towards the client are always best delivered. And then he came up with these 5 principles. I always says the most important principle is number 6. And this is where it goes wrong in a lot of companies. But you can also look at a difference. So this is innovation through artists, like, provocation. If we are able to have, robot legs, why are we not going to alter our DNA? So if I want to walk on high heels, and ladies, I have so much admiration for you. So why not grow your heels already like this? Wouldn't that be easy? Well, I don't know whether you really want to go this. My wife really got scared when I showed this picture to her. But and this is also curiosity, and I think this is this is the Disney Magic Band. It's an RFID tag in a bracelet. It's nothing more like that. But again, they said, hey, I've got this RFID tag in my bracelet. What can I do with it? Hey, I can use it as a room key, photo pass. So if you get a photo, in the roller coaster, you can tag it to it, and then, you can immediately pay for it, etc. Fast pass, exit, park admission. But more importantly, it's the form of payment. So it's the nightmare of every parent, because you go into the store and basically you say, okay, this is it. And it's being delivered to your room. So I also don't have to carry my bags. So you can already imagine, the research shows the easier the form of payment, the more we pay. So they expect that it will generate 1 billion additional revenue because of the Disney Magic Band. 1 billion because of putting an RFID tag in a bracelet. Isn't that cool? Or laziness. So this is the best one I like. A programmer wrote scripts to secretly automate a lot of his job and email his wife and make a latte. So he actually had 3 different jobs at the same time, and the employers didn't know, because he was able to automate so much of his work that he got 3 incomes for the price of 40 hours. That's really cool. Very good example. So who are some companies that master it? And I think I called it beans. There's a good article in this month's Harvard Business Reviews where they show you need to have some examples, proofs that you give to your people. And Adobe is really good. So what Adobe did, Adobe had the Kickbox, which they give to people, which gives insights on how can you kickstart some innovation, how can you look at things, and actually it has a credit card of $1,000 in it. So you can activate, if you think, hey, I've got a cool idea, they give you the Adobe Kickbox. It gives you guidance on, hey, how can you start, what could you do, and you get a credit card of €1,000. This is how they enable the people. They will not say, yeah, I don't have money, or where can I find money? Well, here's the Kickbox, success. And you will also find how you can report back what your success is. That's cool. How many Kickbox do you have in your company? Exactly, well, take this with you. Spotify, they have the fail wall. The fail wall, where they are proud of the things they do that fail. And actually, the good thing is the logo of ISTA is just, so you can see it over there, not on that one. I heard companies doing fuck-up Fridays. Yeah, and the sad thing is, every time I give this to a room of executives, at the end, I ask them, what was the thing that really got to you? And they always say, yeah, fuck-up Fridays. I said, okay, well, thank you very much. But fuck-up Friday is actually you go and stand, on the soap kist, and you shout out what you fucked up. But can you imagine, there are 2 things to it. One is, then if you fuck up, nobody wants to have a second fuck up. That's also what I say to people that I work with. You can fuck up once, you cannot fuck up the second time on the same thing. you know? But fuck up is good, because then you learn, but you need to learn from it. So the company learns from fuck-ups that others make. The second thing is, you create a culture where people are willing to be vulnerable. I can tell you, in the 24 years that I worked in my company, that was not really the case. So we made the same mistake, and the same mistake, and the same mistake over and over again. So think about it. Can you start within your company that actually every month you have Fuck Up Friday? And people are proud. At Google, if you stop a project that you initiated yourself, they give you a bonus. Never happened in my company. Really never happened. But the whole idea is about, you know, start thinking about hey, you know, if I stop it on time, do you know how much money you save for the company? That's the story. Atlassian, they basically have a playbook when they start a project. Teams are already thinking about how can we potentially fail up front. That's a whole different mindset. Mercedes-Benz lunch roulette, I also like this one. They have an app where basically you get rotation and you just have to lunch with people you never met. That's quite nice, eh? How do you create new encounters with people you never ever actually met? Tasty Catering, basically they gave P&L responsibility to people. You know, I give you a P&L, you can temporarily run it. What would you have changed? Completely different way of involving your people. Final words that I want to give to you. You can only create innovation if you have idea flow. And idea flow basically is you need to get out of your own echo chamber. And the biggest thing, and I noticed it myself, I'm obsessed by US politics right now. And yesterday I was only watching CNN again. But that means I get the CNN view of the world. So what I deliberately do is always also check on Fox News. It's really funny if you look at the different stories, but at least it starts thinking, hey, am I in my echo chamber? And this guy, Alex Pentland, he is the leader of the MIT Media Lab, so he always says, I already have seen the future in 10 years' time. He created this book, and this book was based on research where they said, you know, you need to make sure that you get your info and your inspiration outside of your normal comfort zone. And then you need to share it and distribute it in the right way. Then idea flow starts, then innovation starts, then impact again starts. But it starts with you, and it starts the way how you look at the problem. And this came from Google, and I think this again comes to, you know, what is your ownership? And Google said, we always look at the whole problem that it's our problem. They say, if users can't spell, we need to make sure that we interpret what they meant. If they don't know form or query, we need to make sure that we provide the answer already. If they can't speak the language, it's our problem. So that's where Google Translate came from. If there's not enough content on the web, you know, then we need to make sure that's out there, because then it becomes attractive to go to Google. And last but not least, if the web is too slow, it's our problem. Mark Zuckerberg every Wednesday squeezes down the internet in the Facebook building to 25%, just to have developers realize that not everybody is as lucky as Facebook developers in Silicon Valley. When I showed this as my company, they said, well, that we do it all 100% of the time. Final thing is, break through your own mental barrier. You have everything in your hands to make your companies more innovative, more competitive, and to create your own careers. But you have to break through your own mental barrier, whether it's possible, yes or no. I hope you enjoyed it, and I gave you a lot of inspiration. Thank you very much.